Today, it's March 18th, 2022. Homework assignment for CLP session number 8 is finished with 7 is to provide, as I recall, main assessment only, narrated by me, Greg Stack, with soil or tea of my choice, narrating just the first reading area of 5 fields of view, and then going through the rest of the fields of view on the other 4 reading areas. And then that is apparently without narration. So I have my slide and cover slip right here. And I have a sample of compost tea. It's been taking me a while. I've had to get my compost tea machine working. It's a small scale one, doing 20 gallons at a time. And I have a 500-gallon brewer, 2,000 liter one in the field. But I've taken this compost tea. It's from Midwest Biosystems. Here's a sample of the tea. And I'll place a drop on my slide. Place a cover slip over the drop. Make sure it's evenly distributed. This is a compost tea. It's been brewed 24 hours. It's from Midwest Biosystem, is the compost itself. And now I'll begin my assessment. I'm on my 10x view objective, and I'll get it. I usually start by going into the middle of the slide with the 10x and then doing some adjustment to get it about in the field. A nice rich view of a lot of bacteria swimming all over the place. Oh yeah. Now I'll begin by adjusting. I usually go to the edge of the scope and then go to my upper right until I find that edge. And then I'll go 2 turns up and across, and I'll begin my sampling at that point. I have a sheet, Laura, that has all the requirements for main assessment. Includes echinobacteria, fungi, oomycetes, flagellate amoeba, and ciliates. And since it's compost tea, I'm going to read in the 5 reading areas, 5 fields of view in each reading area, starting with 1, which I will narrate. And then I'll, apparently on video, do the other 4 readings without narration. And so we'll begin. So I'm in my first position in reading 1, field of view 1. And I'm on the 10x objective to get it generally in focus. And then I'll move over to my 40x. I'll adjust my there we go, my iris diaphragm in my condenser to make the field pop out very nicely. And I have previously set up the microscope for diopter adjustment and condenser adjustment with a piece of paper. So now I'm on the field of view 1 and reading 1. I'm going to increase my light intensity. And I'm seeing a lot of bacteria. I even see some bacilli. Usually I don't. I see cocci and coccobacillus. I would have to dilute. This is a dilution of 1 to 1. I would have to dilute this probably 1 time, so 2 to 1, to do a bacterial count, but it wouldn't be impossible to do right now in a quarter field. But probably make it a little bit safer. But there are some pretty fat cocoa bacillus, some cocci, and even a few bacillus that I haven't usually seen in my soil samples. But again, this is compost tea. And I see one flagellate. Good to see. See any amoebas. So on my recording sheet, I record one flagellate, 0 fungi, 0 actinobacteria on my main assessment. And then I will move laterally 1 field of view roughly. Very diverse field of biology here. Some long bacilli, cocoa bacillus. It's nice to see some long bacilli in here, but I do not see any some very fast moving small bacteria. It's about 1 micrometer by the rest, but they're moving around fairly rapidly. No spirochete or spirilla, anything bad. This has been composted for 48 hours. It's been cold around here. This material is coming out of the pile that's been frozen all winter. So I see in field of view 2, 0 of fungi, actinobacteria on my seats, and 0 flagellates and amoebas, and no ciliates. So I'll move to field of view 3 in reading area 1. This would be the compost tea I would expect to use in my sprayer rig, Laura, for placing compost tea in an undiluted form onto my foliar for grape vineyard. I've got a 17-acre grape vineyard. And I have yet to actually understand what type of life is meant to be on the leaf surface to protect. I understand that for the most part is going to be bacteria is going to do that protection, because I can't imagine the fungi would have any reason to want to even be up there. But once again, a pretty good diversity of. There's a small bumbling flagellate in field of view 3, so record 1 of them. And I find no fungi and no actinobacteria. I'm not sure what to expect about compost tea. I see. Actually, I found another flagellate, so that'd be 2 in this field of view 3. So then I'll move on to field of view 4. I'm surprised there's some organic matter formed in clumps on here. Just a little bit. Again, I'm in 40x objective, so 400 total magnification. A lot of moving alive bacteria in here for sure, mostly cocci, and some long bacillus, and some what I'm not used to seeing, are some very fast moving 1 micrometer bacteria, just moving all over the heck. And I see, I can't tell at this 400 magnification, but it looks like there'd be tiny flagellates in here. Looks like I count about 4 that, but I cannot see their little flagella. But they're about 3 micron, 4 micron size, certainly not cocci and not Coccobacillus. I'll count 4 flagellates in that view and 0 omoicetes, recording this, and no actinobacteria, no amoebae, and aciliates. I don't know what to expect about finding amoeba in a soil sample and a compost tea sample. It wouldn't seem like that would be their territory. And field of view 5, I've got for sure 2 flagellates. They're kind of very erratic movement, but they're definitely not bacteria by any means. And it's good to see. I know no amoeba at all, and the usual amount of bacteria, mostly cocci, some bacillus, some Coccobacillus. So I record 2 flagellates and none of the other. And that will end my official documentation, excuse me, my narrated portion. I'll move on, since I'm doing compost tea and not expecting to find fungi. I'll move on to reading 2, and I'll record in silence and view in silence. So down I go. For reading 2. I would definitely have to dilute this from a 1-to-1, probably to 1-to-2, to count bacteria. one ciliate in field of view 5, and one flagellate. Moving on to middle reading 3. And one reading 3, 0 actinobacteria fungi, 0 oomycetes, 0, and one flagellate. I'm glad to see the flagellates are there. I think you must count on that. Some long bacilli. Very long bacillus. Strange thing in the corner. It must be Coccobacillus, but they're about 2 to 3 micrometer diameter. Maybe they're baby flagellates, or maybe they're just large Coccobacillus. I'll say they're just bacteria. I have a round, looks like it's a round naked amoeba. And there it's about 15 to 20 micrometer diameter, round. It's got mycelium in it. It looks like a lot of bacteria in it. It does not move. So it could even be amoeba cyst. Can't make out any other ornamentation on the shell. But it sure looks like a naked amoeba to me. Will count as one in field of view 3, one flagellate and one naked amoeba. Round naked amoeba was. Here's field of view 4 and reading 3. It's a round cyst, but it's about 5 micrometer, but not hatched. Long bacilli. And field of view 4 and reading area 3. Very fast running cocci, obviously different species, but they're zitting across at hyperspeed compared to most cocci. No flagellates in this one. Okay, so that completes reading 3 and the 5 fields of views. And now move on to reading 4. And sliding around the field of view. Turn it up just to maximum brightness. Looks like it's just about right. It's interesting, these bacilli are long. They look like they're about 10 micrometer long, and they've got a black dot at each end. I've never seen anything quite like this, but there's a number of them. They are moving a little bit, but you know, they're not motionless. They're obviously alive. So that's field of view 1 for reading 4. And scanning around the edges. 2 flagellates, 3 flagellates, you know, near like cluster. Wow. Like they're in spring love or something. I'm not sure what to say. But they have that irregular motion, and unmistakable. Now to field of view 3 and reading area 4. More along bacilli, a lot of bacteria. Looks like this would be pretty good material to use for compost tea on grape leaves, that's for sure. No flagellates in this view. This microscopic world is just amazing. That's field of view 3 and reading 4. Yeah, big old flagellate just bumbling around like he's a drunken microbe. See anything else in there? It'd be interesting to get more experience with looking at compost tea, which is my principal review, but in field of view 4, reading 4, 1 flagellate. Flagellate moving around, picking on some organic matter in the compost tea drop. That completes reading area 4. Now I'll move down to reading area 5. No flagellates that I can make out. Whoop, there's one. Yeah. Fairly fast moving, but not that kind of speed that ciliates have. But rolling around seemingly aimlessly at times too. And see 2 flagellates in field of view 1 and reading 5. I'm going horizontally across the cover slip sample. More long bacilli. I should think the flagellates would be happy with their food source. Hmm. Field of view 3. See some more cysts. I'm surprised they wouldn't have hatched, but I suppose in God's good time. There's some bacteria matter in here. Organic matter that's been aggregated. Interesting. No flagellates there either. They're going to field of view 4 and reading 5. Three types of main bacteria still present. Bacilli, Bacilli and cocci, cocci. Yeah, 0 flagellates in that view. Last field of view in reading area 5. Fewer flagellates in reading 5 than the rest. I suppose that's the vagaries of microscopic examination. You just don't know what you're going to find where. You'll have all 3 types of bacteria that you're looking for. Up and down focus in all of these, just to make sure you're getting everything. The flagellates are definitely have more movement to them than bacteria, although some cocci are doing pretty well. Okay, so that's the end of the main assessment for compost tea made using Midwest Biosystems Compost on March 18th, 2022. Greg Stack homework assignment prior to starting session 8 of the CLP. Signing out.